Welcome back to Lax Rats TV. Today joining me is Ross Scott, obviously, member of the Red Hot Carolina Chaos right now. Ross, how's life, dude? How's the last couple of weeks been? You guys have been smoking hot.
Yeah, life's good, man. It's got to stay even keeled during the season. There's so many good teams, and you're gonna get a really good team every week. So it's been a lot of fun. We've been starting to feel like we're finding our rhythm a little bit, but obviously got to bring it every week. So it's been a lot of fun, but I'm looking forward to the next game.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, we can get right into it. Like, obviously, the story of your guys' season, like from preseason, there's like slander is what I would call it. You guys were, I mean, you were like almost looked down upon. I feel like a lot of people were counting you out, and then obviously the 1-3 start followed that up. And since then, you guys have completely turned around. You've been 3-1. What changed? Like, what? Why is this team that's playing right now different than the team that was 1-3 to start the season?
Yeah, I think uh, all of the talk about us not going to win a game this season, and guys, people thinking down on us or whatever it is, that's always kind of fueled us. Obviously, we've had a brand new offense coming in. I think there's only two returners thus far from last season's offense coming in, and then we always knew we had a super solid defense, and then you got Blaze Reed and Cage, obviously. So we had that end of the field, wrapped up pretty well,
Yeah,
and we just needed to find our rhythm as an offense. Obviously, playing at a super high level, you get it too. Rhythm as an offense and understanding each other is huge. No matter how much talent you have on the field, being able to know, guys' tendencies, what guys want to get to, knowing when Hiltz is going to throw you that ball, or knowing you got to look up when Ikers is standing at that 15 yards and he's gonna bury one. That's huge. So I think part of that 1-3 start was just really learning what our play style is. You only get about 5 days during training camp, and that's, as you know, not a ton of time in terms of
yeah,
gelling as an offense. So we're trying to figure each other out right now, and our motto is just keeping it kind of sharing the ball. And when you share the ball, good things happen. So we're trying to keep that up right now and see where it takes us.
yeah. 100. I mean, 100%. We preach very similar things at school too. We always taught like one of my favorite parts about the PLL is that they track like passes. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I know ROC Coach Mitch was the OC for the Cannons last 2 summers, not this year, but and the biggest thing he talked about with them was always like, let's just be, you know, let's pass the ball more than anyone else, and it
yeah,
obviously worked for them. They had one of the most efficient offenses for those 2 years, and I think that's the same at our level too. But um, I think a trend we see in the PLL too is exactly what you said. Like teams come in with a bunch of new guys. Obviously, there's a lot of movement year over year in the PLL in terms of
yeah,
rosters. And then you see teams like hit their stride like you guys are right now. And I think like with the early years, the Carolina Chaos, or it was just the Chaos then, but it was the same
yeah,
thing because you had all those box guys who were, coming in late into the season and then they would catch their stride. They'd be in the championship game and they'd have like a losing record. Um,
yeah.
but
Totally, totally.
I think I guess what in like in the chaos locker room right now, what are the next bullet points that you guys want to hit? Like obviously you have 2 more weeks, you have two big matchups. You've got I think it's Denver and Utah.
Yeah.
Um, what do you guys have to do to? I mean, obviously the playoff spot isn't locked in right now. Obviously that Utah game is going to be big for deciding that. But how are you guys going to try to make sure that you peak, right going into playoffs?
Yeah, it's nice. We had our bye early in the year, and we've been kind of just been able to feed week after week after week, and really build off those big games. One thing we've been really harping on is assisted goals. You see a lot of PLL teams, including us, at many a times. The shot clock is so short that a lot of times you just guys got to make a move and go right to the cage, and there's not a lot of time to make that second, third, fourth pass. So one thing about us is after every game we look at how many assisted goals we had, and if we can move that ball 3 4 times extra and score with 5 seconds left in the shot clock, we're super happy about that because that's
Yeah,
backbreaking, as you know.
100%.
um, those the first. 5, 10 seconds of the possession scoring in that early offense. And then the last 5 to 7 seconds scoring is super backbreaking as well. So that's something we've been trying to do and something we've been really looking at. So I think we found our stride a little bit this weekend, but we got to make sure that we hold that game after game after game in our practices because it's easy when those shot clocks at 32 seconds to, really panic and
Yeah.
just want to throw one at the goal and end up being some muffins. So.
Yeah, totally. So I guess how and for you guys, what does it look like throughout the week trying to keep that energy and the focus? Obviously, like the state of professional lacrosse, you're not practicing every day.
Yeah.
Like how do you? I know you said that you guys had a meeting yesterday. Like what is a chaos player's week look like?
Yeah, well, a lot of it's like accountability. As you said, the state of lacrosse right now, we can't be together all the time. So you got to make sure you're in a locker room full of guys that you trust are getting after during the week or taking care of their bodies or whatever it is that they need to do. It looks different for everyone. Some guys need to get shots. Some guys need to get in the training room. Some guys need to, whatever it is. So that accountability is huge and making sure we're
Yeah,
all on the same page. And then we'll do 1 or 2 Zooms a week. We'll watch us, and then before we play, we'll watch the other team. There's not a ton of different stuff. You watch obviously a ton of PLL. Defenses don't throw too much different stuff at you. They trust their guys a ton, but you can watch how teams play picks. Some guys are really a little bit easier to step off. You can see who they might want to go to and who they just don't go to at all. Guys are hedging or stuff like that. So the little stuff
yeah.
really does matter and knowing who you're playing against. And then for the most part, that hour and a half, 2 hours of practice, we go hard. A lot of guys want to take off that, and that's also understandable. But for us to get to where we want to be right now, we need to make sure we're making full use of that hour and a half, 2 hour practice before and getting after it a little bit.
That's fascinating because I would have thought honestly like those would have been more like walkthroughs. But I mean that totally makes sense. You only get one of them a week. But you talked a little bit about like picks and like when I think of Ross Scott's game, I just picture like a two-man game from X or a one-on-one from X and just cooking, turning the corner. Obviously in the PLL, like you see, players have to, tweak with their position a little bit, and you obviously being in that category. Um, at Rutgers, I feel like you spend a lot of time below the cage. Now
Yeah.
you're inverting a bunch, but you're spending a lot of time above the cage too, running out of the box. What's that change been like? I know a lot of players it can be a bit of a culture shock. Like guys like I played attack my whole life, and now in college I played midfield for 3 years. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess what has that change been like for you?
Yeah, it's been really cool. I think it's as there's a few things you got to change. I dodged behind the net since pretty much middle school to all the way through my last year in college. But at the end of the day, it's lacrosse. If you're a good lacrosse player and you love going out and working on things, the angles are a little bit different, your looks are a little bit different. But once you kind of get into that groove, you just you kind of love it. And I'm getting used to playing midi finally in the PLL, and it's been a ton of fun because I can still do those things. I still have that freedom to go to X and try new things, and then I also have a little bit more awareness above the cage. And you've been doing an awesome job at Princeton above the cage and working on that low wing, so you know how fun
Thank
that,
you.
that spot
Yeah,
is to dodge from.
100%. I think like the biggest like I'll speak for myself, but I would be sure that you can relate to this too. Like I spent like literally, whatever, a decade just on playing like lefty attack, and I never really varied from that because there's usually not many
Yeah.
lefties on teams. And
Yeah.
having to move around, like obviously, like Coulter's one of the best players in the country. Played left. I played, my fair share of X. I played my fair share of mid. I've had like crease roles at times too. Like being able to play different things, it like actually made me love lacrosse so much more. And it,
Yeah,
it felt
totally.
like I almost felt like you feel like a little kid trying to like, I'm asking like Tucker Wade like how to shoot on the run because I like never have had to shoot down the
Yeah.
alley before. And I don't know, honestly, like for me, it just made me like kind of fall in love with the game all over again from a different point of view.
For sure,
Um,
dude.
but obviously at Princeton, we've had plenty of Oregon guys come through Princeton with Slush, with Porter. Porter's obviously on the team now. I love the kid.
Yeah.
I always ask him because he always says that he lives in a hot spot. What's up with Oregon? Why? Or like I feel like out of all the non-hot spots in the country, obviously Oregon's produced like it's got you, Slush, Hanley, the Zapatellos, Dordovic. Like there's so many guys I
Squires.
feel like Squires. There's so many
Yeah.
guys I
People
feel like
forget.
that come out of Oregon, and I just it's fascinating to me. What do you think it is? What do you attribute that to?
No, that's a great question because, if you look at Oregon, which is this massive state that doesn't have a ton of population, and then you look at just the region of Long Island, they probably have two, three times as many lacrosse players
Yeah,
just in that one region as we do. Um, so the fact that we have eight, you know, guys in the, maybe not eight, maybe it's six or seven guys in the PLL, and Peter Baum was a Tewaaraton finalist or Tewaaraton winner,
yeah,
in the 2000s, is pretty amazing, and that's something I've always kind of wondered as well. It's just, I think growing up kind of in a non-hotspot forces a lot of players to not necessarily, you don't necessarily learn the game necessarily like the right way. So like
yeah,
I never really did in high school, we never set picks or anything. Like if you're the best player on the field, you had to find your pull and you had to dodge him every time. You had to
yeah,
find a way to dodge him. And there's some really good coaches here now. But growing up, a lot of guys didn't have a ton of that stuff. So you had to find ways to, make plays, and that's why you see a ton of like really good athletes coming out of Oregon. And then once they kind of learn more of the game in lacrosse, then they get really, really good at the
yeah,
sport. So that is something I've seen. Like Porter is a one-on-one dodger for the most part. He,
yeah,
he he had a really good coach in high school who started to experiment with some picks and stuff. But I'm going to look at my defender. I'm going to split. I'm going to roll. I'm going to run by him. Same with Sam was running through people in eighth grade.
yeah,
Tucker, Ajax is a really good cover guy. Um, I think it's just really good athletes who didn't necessarily learn lacrosse from a really young age,
yeah,
and had to learn the skills and watch a ton of lacrosse and figure it out that way. So that's kind of what I attributed to it. As we get older, we're starting to get more players coming back and teaching the game a little bit higher of a level. But it's really cool to see all the high level players coming from Oregon, and just year after year, it just keeps getting more and more.
yeah.
So it's
It's
cool.
it's it's honestly it's really cool to me. It's pretty fascinating because, like you said, like we a couple of us say in the locker room, we were like, it's like stick foot rollback university. I feel like
Yeah,
all the guys like I know like Slush and Porter are two like of the best rollback guys I've played with, just like hockey
yeah,
stop
totally.
guys. I'm like, why is this like such a it feels like such an Oregon thing? Is like when I think of Sam Hanley too, I think of like a rollback jump shot or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's
totally.
just I mean, the same goes with all you guys, but um, do you do any coaching in Oregon?
Yeah, I help run one of the biggest club teams out here, and we're helping guys get recruited, and we're doing a ton of training, so it's a lot of fun. It's called Team Oregon.
Hell yeah, that's awesome,
Porter
man.
helps out with us too, and then every time he's back, we'll get some reps too.
Yeah, well, he's had a fun summer out in LSU, so.
That's what I heard.
But all right. I got a couple fun questions to end it off here.
Hell
Um,
yeah, let's do it.
me and Burns, we like to ask all guys questions like this. So I want to hear your Mount Rushmore of players that are most influential in your game.
Okay. All right. Can I have a second to think about it?
Yeah, go for it. Take a second.
All right. All right. I might add a few more, or I might go a few less.
All right. Because we're not talking
Uh,
best. We're talking most influential for you in your development
Influential.
in your career. Yeah.
Okay, so one, I gotta go Jordan Wolf.
I see that for sure.
I love watching him play. I love how simple he would do it. I guys, people have like compared me to him before, but he's just got so much foot speed. I wish I had that much foot speed. I get the quickness part, but he's got so much speed, he'll just square you up and run by you. So he's a sick one. Um, you know, there's a few guys that are still in the league uh, that I obviously watched a lot growing up. Um, Let me see. Let me add a few more.
Yeah,
Obviously, I was always looking for smaller guys. I watched Sowers a ton at Princeton. I have a lot of
yeah,
respect for his game. He's obviously got a great nose for the net. He knows how to shake a defender and take a hit to make a play. So he's a sick player. Someone I watched a ton, try to model my game after.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I totally see that. He's a guy who he's so professional about it too, which is something I really
Yeah,
respect about him.
yeah, for sure. So those two guys. I like to watch the small guys. Inspired me a little bit growing up.
I'm the same way.
Just like myself.
Pretty much all mine are big lefties, so
Yeah,
I totally
yeah.
get
Mark
that.
Matthews has got to be in there, huh?
Oh, he's in there. He's up there for
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah. Let me see. I got probably a few more. I mean, you know, weirdly enough, like Slusher, Dordovic, those guys that I played alongside, and Dordovic was older than me. Those are guys that inspired me a ton growing up. I had players from my high school that like taught me the game because lacrosse wasn't that
Yeah.
big out here. That I would look at their game and try and emulate stuff that they did. Um, but like Dordovic, he was a few years older than me, and he had a similar play style to me. The rollbacks and trying to beat your guy with speed, and those shooting up the hash. So he's one I could definitely throw in there, and then um, I'll go one more here for you.
Yeah, you can pull one more. So we got Wolf, we got Sowers, and then we'll just say the Oregon guys.
Yeah, like Slusher. I mean
Dordovic,
Slusher. I used to
Slush.
watch him in eighth. Slusher was an amazing player, and all throughout his college too. But in eighth grade, that guy was unstoppable. And I used to watch
Yeah.
on the side. I'm like, how can I get as good as this guy?
Yeah.
He was
Well,
so good.
he was one of those my senior year of high school before I came to Princeton when Princeton was in the Final Four. He had that 45 goal season where
Yeah,
it was like he felt like Connor Fields is when he's playing great in the PLL where it's like low shot clock, give it to Fields. Let him it was
yeah,
like that. It
yeah.
was like get Slush the ball and let him cook, dude. They're all like not, they were 45 goals and at least like 30 of them had to have been the most difficult one-on-one like crease dive goals
Yeah.
ever. Like
He's
the kid was allergic to easy goals. He was getting all the
oh
greasy
yeah.
ones.
Oh yeah. He's gonna inside roll and like get crushed by four guys and find a
Yeah,
way to get the,
exactly.
the shot on that. Yeah.
The way Mitch said about it, I remember when I came in as a freshman, he was like, you got to look at a guy like Slusher. He's not scared to go to the dark spots on the field. And that was like the whole spiel. And I was like, all right, shit, dude. I guess that's what I got to do to play.
The dark spots on the field. That is
Yeah,
hilarious. One guy I got to show a ton of respect to also is Jules Henningberg. Rutgers
100%.
guy, Rutgers legend. As I was growing up and was committing to Rutgers, he was a guy I looked up to a lot. I still do. Still stay in contact with him a lot. And then he was on the Chaos last year too. So he's someone who's just from his ability to break down a defender, quarterback, and offense, and then his professionalism in the game is just on another level. He is, he's gonna go back. He's gonna get his workouts in. He's gonna work on everything he needs to do. He's got left. He's got right. He can break down a defender. He can, play off ball, be in a pick game. So he's someone that I
Yeah.
definitely looked up to a lot.
That's funny that you bring him up and say those same things because I've heard all the same things about him too. Um,
Yeah,
like I keep bringing up Coach Mitch, but he coached at Rutgers beforehand too, and he whenever he doesn't think we're working hard enough, he's got a couple stories he likes to throw out there, and one of them is always he's like, our offices at Rutgers overlook either the field or somehow he could see who was going out on the field, and he was like, Jules Hendenberg was getting reps every day, like
yeah,
every morning, every afternoon, he was getting reps. Um, and then I mean, he's probably like one of my favorite broadcasters in the booth right now to listen to. I think he's
agreed.
got a big future there. And he's got to be the first player ever who's played in a season and broadcasted in the same
I
season, which is crazy.
know.
Um, All right, that's awesome though. All right, the last two, these ones should be pretty quick, but
Great.
I want to hear hardest cover, hardest guy you've
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
gone against, and
Easy.
then
Sounds easy.
toughest goalie too, who you've had the most trouble
Okay.
scoring on.
Okay. I'm gonna have two answers for both of those. Hardest cover. Anyone can look it up. The year Rutgers and Princeton were both in the Final Four, 2022.
Yeah,
Gavin Adler was my mark that game, and he was a tough one to go against.
interesting. Yeah,
Being a very like dodging attackman, used a little bit of picks behind the goal, and that's kind of the exact person that he loves to play against.
yeah.
And he gave me a tough game. He maybe sent my stick 20 plus yards away from my body.
In that game,
It was bad. Oh yeah,
I don't know if I've
it was.
seen that. I don't remember it at least.
Oh, just look up the highlights. It will.
Yeah.
It was. I got actually a little bit of. I got remembered. I remembered a little bit last game because I think it was Ware set my stick also flying last game too. So that was brutal. But yeah, look up the highlights. He legitimately set my stick 30 yards away from my body. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no.
Dude, those have got to be the most like as an offensive player, having to go run over to pick up your stick as the play's going the other way is the worst
Yeah.
feeling in the world.
Oh, worst feeling in the world.
I had
Yeah.
one
And
eight, I
then
mean, Oregon guy, Ajax. When we played, this was last year, my sophomore year, we played Maryland Ajax's senior year, and I kind of like pride myself on my stick protection. And I'm
yeah.
like, look, like I'm not super fast. Like the way I escape double teams and escape pressures by like, being able to handle it really and
Yeah.
embrace it.
Yeah.
And I like kind of like I'm getting shorty and I like kind of get by my guy and I was like, oh shit. And then I just see Ajax running at me and I kind of like freaked out. And I didn't even know what check he threw. All I felt is my stick go like this, and I was like, "Fuck, not in my hands anymore."
Yeah, that's tough. And then obviously Rowlett going out against him in practice every day is brutal because he's got the
Yeah,
most effective over the head check you've ever seen in your life.
hundred
You're
percent.
like
Dude,
you
it
know it's
looks
coming.
terrifying. It looks
Yeah,
terrifying.
it
It's
is.
funny because Aiden Carroll said Jack Rowlett too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You
funny.
know it's coming too. He's guarding you, and you see him take his hands off you, and you're like, oh, over the head's coming, and then all of a sudden your stick's on the ground. It's like too fast. It's
Yeah.
just up and down. So he's there.
All right. Now, toughest goalie.
Okay, toughest goalie. Oh gosh, there's so many goalies. I used to go out with Colin Kirst every day and get shots at when we were at Rutgers, and me and my
Yeah.
friends would shoot on him from 10 yards as hard as we could. And there were some days where we legitimately just could not score on him.
Really?
Um, oh
He would
yeah,
let you.
oh yeah.
Our goalies yell at us if you shoot inside 15 in practice. So
Oh really? No, he's a psycho like that. Colin like wants
yeah,
shots, and he doesn't care where. I'd hit him like right in the thigh from 10 yards. Like I'm like, oh god, I'm sorry. He's like, no, dude, do it again.
that's great. That's a
He's a
goalie
psycho.
mentality.
He is, man. Every time I'm talking to my goalies, I'm like, and they like get hit with a shot and they're like pissed off about it. I'm like, dude, why are you pissed off about stopping the ball? Colin Curse would be stoked right now for you.
Yeah,
He's got
that's
the
awesome.
best mentality. And then same thing is Blaze Reardon. That's a demoralizing person to shoot on too.
Dude, for my money, he's the best goalie I've ever watched. I really, really believe that. And he's also a blast to watch in the NLL. It's
Yeah,
insane to
yeah,
me that he does both. That he plays offense. Like I've been to a couple Wings games because not that far from Princeton, and it just like feels surreal watching him like crease dive and tuck one.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, is this the same dude that I watched play goalie all summer? It's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, I always say this when people ask. It's like Blaze not only is, the best goalie I've ever played against in my life, he also could play on our man up, no problem.
Yeah,
Like he shoots with
that's
his goalie
insane.
stick. He shoots with his goalie stick in practice, and I'm like, dude, why are you more accurate than me? Stop.
Dude, he was born to play lacrosse, I swear.
He was.
He's
He
one of the
was.
most likable dudes in the league, in my opinion. I absolutely love
Easy.
him.
Easy.
Um,
Yeah. And then the way he saves the ball, and you take a shot, and he's not even trying. It doesn't seem like he's trying. He
yeah,
obviously is, but it's so nonchalant when he does that. I'm like, dang it.
of course, dude. All right, well, I appreciate you hopping on, dude. That was an awesome convo. Good luck this weekend. Should be a great crowd out there in Denver, so I'm sure that'll be a super fun atmosphere to play in.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate
Oh
you having
yeah.
me. Tell Birdsie I
Yeah,
say hi.
of course I will. All right, see you, Ross.
Have a good one, Chad.